Gloria in excelsis Deo. In terra pax omnibus boni voluntatis laudam sive qui se aureum se glorificam se gratia salum sui protum magum to Domini Deus et Deus Patris Domini Filii Christi Domini Deus Salus Filius Patris Spiritus Domini Initiae Nobis Spiritus Domini Superior Educationis Subscriptis Subscriptis Nobis Communion to souls Christi Spiritum Gloria Dei Patris Amen. We propter magnam gloriam tuam Domine Deus et celestis whose pater Domine Filii unigenite Iesu Christe Domine Deus Agnus Dei Deus Patris Victoris peccata mundi miserere nobis Victoris peccata mundi suscite deprecatione Dominus vobiscum. Et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Largire nobis, que sumus Domine, semper spiritum cogitandi, que recte sunt propitius et agendi, ut qui sine te esse non possumus, secundum te vivere valeamus, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Lectio Epistolae Beati Pauli Apostoli ad Romanos. Fratres debitores sumus non carni, ut secundum carnem vivamus. Si enim secundum carnem, exteris mortem mordem ei. Si ad spiritu facto carnius, mortificavit spiriti, quicumque enim spiritu Dei adjunctur, mihi sunt filii Dei. Non enim exceptisti spiritum servitutis, iterum timore, sed exceptisti spiritum adaptionis filiorum, in proclamamus Abba Pater. Ipsa enim spiritus testimonium redit spiritui nostro, quod sumus filii Dei. Siatum filii et heredites quidem Dei, proherideris autem Christi. Dominus vobiscum. Et cum spiritu tuo. Sequentia Sancti Evangelii secundum Lucam. Gloria a ti, Domine. In illo tempore dixi Iesus discipuli suis parabolum hang, homo quidem erat dives, qui habebat vilicum, ec diffamatus est apud illum, quasi dissipasset bona ipsius, et vocavit illum et aetili, quid hoc audito de te, redirationem vilicationis tuae, iam non poteris vilicare, ait autem vilicus intra se, quid faciam, quia Dominus meus auferut a me vilicationem. Fodere non valeo mendicare erubesco, strio quid faciam, ut cum a motus fuero a vilicatione, recipiant me in domus suas. Convocatis itaque singulis debitoribus domini sui, dicebat primo, quantum debes domino meo, at ille dixi centum cados olei, dixit que illi accipe cautionem tuam, et sede cito scribe quinquaginta, deinde ali dixit, tu vero quantum debes, qui ait centum coros tritici, aetili, accipe litteras tuas et scribe octoginta, et laudavi Dominus vili cum iniquitatis, quia prudenter feci sed, quia filii huius saeculi prudentiores filis lucis in generatione sua sunt, et ego vobis citro, facite vobis amicos e mammona iniquitatis, ut cum defeceritis recipiant vos in aeterna tabernacula.
Today's epistle is from St. Paul to the Romans. Brethren, we are debtors, but not to the flesh, so that we must live according to the flesh. If you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put the evil deeds of the body to death, you will live. Now all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. You did not receive a spirit of slavery, leading you back into fear, but a spirit of adoption, through which we cry out, Abba, that is, Father. And the Spirit itself gives witness, together with our spirit, that we are children of God. But if children, heirs too, heirs of God, heirs together with Christ. And the gospel reading today is from St. Luke. At that time, Jesus spoke this parable to his disciples. There was a rich man who had a steward, who was reported to him for dissipating his property. He called him and said to him, "What is this I hear about you? Give an accounting of your stewardship, for you can't be steward any longer." The steward thought to himself, "What must I do in view of the fact that my master is taking my job away from me? I am unable to dig and ashamed to beg. I know what I must do to ensure that, when I am dismissed, they will receive me with open doors." He said to the first, "How much do you owe my master?" He replied, 100 jars of oil. The steward said, "Take your invoice, sit down quickly, and make it for 50. Then he said to a second, How much do you owe?" He answered, 100 measures of wheat. And the steward said, "Take your invoice and make it 80." The master gave the unjust steward credit for being so enterprising. For the children of this age are more enterprising than the children of light toward their own kind. And I say to you, make friends for yourselves with the help of wicked money, so that when it runs out, they may receive you into everlasting abode.
This weekend, the Lord invites us to consider the reality of a dirty three-letter word, sin. And we are sinners. We are debtors. But St. Paul says, if we are to be debtors, to not be debtors to the flesh. That's what sin is. To be a debtor to the flesh, to the passions of this world, to worldly wants, to worldly desires. Whether that be to actual flesh or to any of the various sins that we commit. We think of the 7 deadly sins: pride, envy, greed, lust, gluttony. That's my one there. Last night, I mentioned that food is the sin that I seem to have trouble with, and sloth also, but food in particular. And one of the people at Mass is the manager of the Dairy Queen down the street, and he said, "Your problem's not food, your problem is Dairy Queen. I see you there too often, Father." In the ordinary form, we get this reading of the rich man who talks to himself. He has such a great harvest of grain that he wants to tear down his barns and build new ones. And he has a conversation with himself about what he will do. What will I do? I say to myself. I know what I shall do. I will take care of myself. It's no accident. It is an accident. It is a happenstance. But pride and sin both have something in common, at least in the English language, that they put I in the center of the word. They also put I, myself, in the center of my life. In my own considerations, I think of my wants, my desires. Why does the Lord in the gospel today praise the steward who dissipated the property of the rich man and who gets called to task on it? Because maybe for the first time in the steward's life, he thinks of somebody other than himself, even tangentially. He cuts out what is the steward's cut of the price. Here's the promissory note. Quickly, write one for less. Why does he do that? Sure, for selfish means, but he recognizes that helping others is going to come back and help himself. and he recognizes the importance of helping others. That's true in life. We help others. We do so out of love. And we do so with faith that they will be there for us. One little thing can open the way to Christ, to the Holy Spirit to work. All of a sudden, others become more important than himself for a brief moment. And yet we so easily think about ourselves, don't we? I was talking to some priest friends of mine recently, and it's interesting, they've been having some personal problems for a whole variety of reasons. You know, it's tough to be a priest these days. Now, why am I going to reflect on being a priest these days? Because today is the memorial of St. John Vianney, the patron saint of priests. And I had the chance to go on a retreat in Ars, 10 years ago, I think. Yeah, 10 years ago. And I learned a lot about his life, and I've learned a lot about priesting since, and seen how much he's gone through. And we all have our little sufferings in life. At some point in time, every priest gets assigned, hopefully, to a little place in the middle of nowhere. And he learns a lot from doing so. I had two little places in the middle of nowhere in western Iowa up until a few months back. And it can be very lonely and very isolating. And as you hear me talk about this, I want you to recognize two things. One, that it's tough being a priest. And two, that being a priest is about so much being human. I think we can all relate to a lot of these issues. Loneliness. St. John Vianney was assigned to a little town of Ars. Couldn't even find it. He told a little kid along the way, he said, "You show me the way to Ars, I will show you the way to heaven." The world, the pressures of the world around us, the culture that presses in upon us and tells us to be selfish and to go along with the flow, to follow the way of the wind. You ever look at a weather vane? You know, the thing that points the direction to show you where the wind's coming from? You guys know what image is often associated with the weather vane other than the arrow itself? Most weather vanes have an image on them. You know what it is? Everybody's listening. It's a rooster. It's a rooster for a reason. Because it's an image of St. Peter. The night that he followed the crowd rather than when he followed the Lord. There's even a church in Jerusalem, St. Peter in Gallicantu. What does Gallicantu mean? It's nice to tell it. It means cockcrow. The night when he denied our Lord 3 times. Oh, it's so easy when we're in here and we're all together to affirm the truth of the faith, maybe. But maybe when we go out, it's not. And we get taken away by the culture. Maybe we get taken away by the culture and don't even recognize that we're doing it. And we think we're being faithful. I had a priest friend of mine who was telling me how last weekend he got up in front of his parish And he pointed out in his homily, I don't know why, but he pointed out that we put our money where our treasure is. And he said, as a society, and he just pointed this out and hit a sensitive topic kind of tangentially, but he pointed out that as a society, we spend more money helping people to not have children than we do helping people to have children. We do, as a society, you think about it. He points that out, and all of a sudden, he's got the pro-abortion people all riled up in his parish. Yes, there are pro-abortion people sitting in our Catholic churches today. That might surprise some of you. And this lady comes up to him in his office one day that week, wearing all of her Planned Parenthood gear and trying to talk about why abortion is so wonderful and whatnot. That wasn't the point. That wasn't the point of his homily. He's asking what we value. But it does raise a point, doesn't it? Do we value the things of this world more than we value Christ and our relationship with Him? More than we put our treasure in heaven? And just in case any of you are thinking, yeah, go Father on that issue, I can stand up here and easily condemn both major political parties and make all of you mad. Easy. And if doing so would make you mad, I invite you to consider what I said just a moment ago. Where's your treasure? Where's your value? Do politicians tell you what to believe? Does the world tell you what to believe? Does being blown by the wind, like the weather vane, like St. Peter, tell you what you should believe? Or does God? On top of St. John Vianney's church and ours, there is a weather vane with a rooster. It was used commonly as a symbol after the Reformation to signify this is a church under St. Peter, and as a warning of being blown around by the whims of people, of politicians, of the worldly. I had another priest friend of mine, and I was thinking about this gospel when he told me this, that one of his brother priests told him that part of his problem, and he's had a lot of problems in his parish, and this priest told him part of his problem was that he didn't court the rich, and he accused him of being anti-rich. And he needed to go out and make rich friends in order to save his priesthood, he said. Now, that friend of mine may have been somewhat exaggerating the story, I'll give him that. But it tells you something about making friends with the worldly. Even us priests aren't exempt. And then there's the pressures that are put on us. I said a moment ago, I can stand up here, and what am I supposed to say from here? I'm supposed to tell you the gospel. I'm supposed to tell you the truth, even in the face of whatever the world throws at us. And it's hard. And oftentimes, we priests, we make people mad. St. John Vianney actually ran away from his parish 3 times. You didn't know that, did you? He ran away 3 times. One time, he left in the middle of the night, got a little ways away, and realized his mistake and was obedient to the Spirit calling inside of him, turned around and went back. The second time, his parishioners drove him away for being hard-hearted and for not caring Do we think about the effect that we have on others? That same priest I alluded to a bit ago about saying stuff from the pulpit, I talked to him a little bit ago, and he said this weekend he pointed out that we've had some more mass shootings in this country. He said, yeah, what do you expect? We live in a culture that shoots off our mouths at each other freely, without thinking of the consequences, without learning to care for other people. What do we expect when we let sin rule our lives? Watch my watch, so I got to wrap it up here. You know, St. John Vianney also had an incident in his life where his brother priests were so jealous of him, they wrote a petition to their bishop, their brand new bishop, asking for John Vianney to be removed from his parish. They were jealous because he had finally, after years and years and years, started to convert the hearts of the people in Ars. And the people from the surrounding parishes were going there for him to hear their confessions, and they were jealous. St. John Vianney heard about this petition, and you can imagine he was hurt by it. But he knew his weaknesses, and he knew how unworthy he was. And he had the sense of how he wasn't the best pastor so often. So St. John Vianney, when he got together as priests and they're passing around this petition, he gets a hold of it and he signs it. That's St. John Vianney for you. Do we stay true to the faith? Do we stay true to Christ? Or do we let worldly things get in the way? Tonight we turn to Him. Tonight we make a choice to let go of whatever little things still hold us bound to ourselves or to the world. And we ask the Lord to fill us with His grace. Credo in unum Deo.
Patroni potentum ex patri datum Deum secula Deum Factum consus in pater Crucifixus et Sancta Nobis Supposio Pilatus Passus Sepultus est Visitatis Dei Secundus Scriptus est Dei Nexum Padus et Paradis est Paradis Sepultus Quis Regenerat Feliz Spiritus Sanctus Domini and Abundance Pater Pater Glorified Glorious Des Prophets et Deus Sancta and I'm so calm. Factum consubstantialem Patri perquem omnia facta sunt qui propter nos homines et propter nostrum salutem extendite celis et incarnatus est de Spiritu Sancto ex Maria Virgine et homo factus est, crucifixus et sia pro nobis, sub Pontio Pilato, sepultus est, venturus est cum gloria, Vicare, mortuos, quis regni non erit finis. Procerit, qui cum Patre et Filio, simul adorator, et cum glorificator, locutus est per prophetas. Sancta Catholica, in peccatorum expecto resurrectionem tuorum in seculi. Amen. Dominus vobiscum. Oremus. Populum humilium salvum facies Domini. Loculus superiorum humility abis. Quoniam quis Deus praeter te Domini. Nee, maar best som sagt welche Fehler glaube jag på det überall. Amen. Such speakers so quite almost the way when we are quite TV. To a larger data de ferinos, would have Sacrosancta Mysteria Gratia to me. Operante for 2 days present is we day versas versazione sufficiente da Gaudia sempiterna prayer do count predomina solis in Christian faith to take away the reign of the Spirit of Sancti Deus. Per omnia saecula saeculorum. Dominus vobiscum. Sorsum corda. Gratias agamus Domino Deo nostro. Vere dignum et justum est, ecum et salutare, nos tibi semper tubique, gratias agere, Domine Sancte Pater, omnipotens aeterne Deus, qui cum unigenito Filio tuo, et Spiritus Sancto, unus est Deus, unus est Dominus, non in unius singularitate personae, sed in unius Trinitate substantiae, Corinum de tua gloria, revelante te credimus, hoc de Filio tuo, hoc de Spiritus Sancto, sine differentia discretioni sentimus, ut in confessione vere sempiterne deitatis, et in personis proprietas, et in essentia unitas, et in majestate adoretur qualitas, quam laudant angeli atque archangeli, cherubim quoque ac seraphim, qui non cessant clamare quotidie una voce dicentes. Sancta, 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 saves our place,
Nobis quoque peccatoribus suis emotionibus rationem Svantivus protomalacunus utiliatum donatineris Conturis sanctis apostolus martyrus Comunis Panamatia Porpana Alexander Martial Petrus Fletchet Perpetua Agita Lucia Agnete Tutelia Anastasia Rosa Inter quorum discussus Munis Mathematis Sevene Graesus Christum Dominus Ucrame as vivificas benedictis apprecias nobis. Per ipsum mecum ipsum ipsum Deo Pater omnipotente unitate Spiritus omnis honor gloria. Per omnia saecula saeculorum. Oremus, Precepti salutaribus moniti, et divina institutione formati, audemus dicere. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem. Per omnia saecula saeculorum. Pax Domini sit semper vobiscum. Domine non sum dignus, sed in Domine non sum dignus, Domine non sum dignus, Ecce agnus Dei, ecce qui tollis peccata mundi, Domine non sum dignus in interesse tecum meum, sed tanto dic verbus sanabiter anima mea. Domine non sum dignus in interesse tecum meum, sed tanto dic verbus sanabiter anima mea. Domine non sum dignus in interesse tecum meum, sed tanto dic verbus sanabiter anima mea. Corpus nostri, Jesus Christus, custodiat animum tuum, vitam terram, amen. Corpus nostri, vitam terram, amen. Dominus vobiscum. Oremus. Sit nobis Domine reparatio mentis et corporis, celesti mysterium, ut quis ex sequimur cultum sensiamus effectum, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum, qui tecum vivere regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Dominus vobiscum. Missa est Deo. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater, et Filius, et Spiritus Sanctus, Dominus vobiscum. Initium Sancti Evangelii secundum Johannem. In principio erat verbum, et verbum erat apud Deum, et Deus erat verbum. Hoc erat in principio apud Deum, qui omni per factus nisi, et factus Deum cum so Peter and so benevolus temis in propria omnes societae honest even testimony per Deum and all square per non area testimony per Deum and square omnia beneatum hoc modo and mudo erat and mudo sem so factus esse mudo sem macro in propria benedicte sui omnia shepherd quod Protestant feels safe here, Christ quickly to know me is neck way. We know next one, next one to the next one. So the real carbon factum, that's the habitat, it is always. We square away, square, consider the Okay. Thank you to everyone who attended the parish picnic last night. We had a lot of fun. I'm personally proud of myself because Ned Chido, Monsignor's cousin, and I won a game of bocce ball against some mighty fierce competitors. So we had a lot of fun with brats and hot dogs and whatnot. So please thank you for coming and helping out with that, and look forward to seeing you guys next time we do that. We have a new young adult group. The group will meet on Friday starting at 6 p.m. in the youth room. Please enjoy food and drink with fellow believers, kind of ages 18 to mid-30s-ish, so please come to that. Join us for a prayer novena for the Assumption, which begins, the novena begins on August 7th. The prayer can be found in the bulletin and on the table. And of course, the Assumption is on August 15th, and that's a holy day of obligation. I know we have a Mass. I can't remember what time. 5:30. Solemn, which means Andy's going to be here, which is a good thing. Thank you. So we'll have a nice solemn Mass, and we'll make sure it's, if you thought this was done up well, come see the solemn. We'll have a lot of fun. I want to extend a special welcome to all of our visitors. Whether you're a guest or parishioner, we're grateful that you've joined us today. It's our hope that you experience the love of Christ and His presence during the solemn Mass here. Thank you for coming, and God bless you. Organ repair. I want to say a special thank you to all of our volunteers. Some of you are in the back pews and are wondering why there are pipes just laying there. It's because those are some of the ones that they couldn't fit onto their U-Haul. There are 700 some pipes in that organ, and we had a lot of volunteers. We got them all clean. Monsignor asked one of the guys from Dobson how long it's been since our organ's been cleaned. And the guy asked, what year was it installed? And they said 1930. And the guy said 1930. Said it was the dirtiest organ he's ever seen. So, Italians. I have a joke about bocce ball to tell you. So we're glad that we can take care of such a wonderful instrument that we have. And you see the screen is kind of laying up back there, and we're debating whether to put the screen back in or not. We think if we don't, we'll get a little bit more volume. I can't tell who's up there, but you guys are standing right in front of the screen, so you can show it off back there. It's a nice screen, but it does block a lot of the sound. So we're going to experiment with that a little bit. So hopefully we'll get a little more oomph from the organ. Thanks to all of those volunteers that have helped, and we'll be getting the pipes back in this week. This is the first weekend of the month. Is there a potluck? Not until next month. Okay. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, most Sacred Heart of Jesus, most Sacred Heart of Jesus, Immaculate Heart of Mary, Saint Joseph, Saint Anthony, Saint John Vianney.